You're walking along a dirt path when you feel a sharp pain in your calf. As you glimpse down, you see a slithering tail disappear into the grass. You didn't get a good look at it, but you're in snake country, and you know that there are some pretty deadly critters in this part of the world. You take another step when something doesn't feel right. Your muscles aren't responding in the way they should be. You fall to the ground and begin twitching. After a few moments, you become completely paralyzed. The snake's venom travels through your veins to your vital organs. What you do next will determine if you survive or die from the poison coursing through your body. Minutes before you're bitten by a venomous snake. The snake has been producing highly toxic venom from glands in its head. They are commonly located behind the eyes and connected to the fangs in the front or back of the snake's mouth via ducts. Depending on the snake, the venom can do different things. There are two main toxins in the snake venom that can cause serious problems to your body, each of which targets a different system. These components are known as hemotoxins and neurotoxins. The venom itself is made up of hundreds of different proteins that wreak havoc on your body once they enter your system. Milliseconds before you're bitten by a venomous snake, the snake tenses the muscles in its body like a compressed spring. When tension is released, the serpent darts forward faster than the blink of an eye. In fact, most snakes can strike at around 357 miles per hour. At that same time, the venom glands that are connected to the fangs dump toxins into the snake's mouth. Its razor-sharp teeth puncture your skin, muscles, and enter your bloodstream. The clock is now ticking. The moment you're bitten by a venomous snake, the venom in the fangs is transferred into your bloodstream and starts circulating around your body. It's at this moment you need to take action because if you don't, you will die. The snake venom was made to fulfill one of two purposes. Venom is a natural form of defense that keeps predators at bay. Unfortunately for snakes, they can be a great source of protein for many animals. Unfortunately for you, the snake sees you as a threat, which is why it just bit you. By injecting a predator with deadly venom, a snake can ensure that they stay off the menu. The other reason snakes produce venom is to immobilize prey so that they can easily consume them. This means that the venom needs to be powerful and work fast. There would be no point for snakes to generate this substance if after they bit their prey, it was able to get away and die somewhere far away where the snake could not find and consume it. Therefore, when the venomous snake bit you, the venom began working almost immediately. There are around 700 different species of venomous snakes with fangs in the front of their mouth and another 1,800 with fangs in the rear of their mouth. On average, the rear-fanged species of snakes are less venomous than the front-fanged species. The bad news is the snake you were just bit by had fangs in the front of its mouth, and its venom is one of the most deadly in the world. We're going to make you the victim of two different snake bites. This is because we need to find out what happens if you're bit by a deadly snake that uses hemotoxins versus a snake that uses neurotoxins in its venom. Both are deadly, so it's important to pay attention so you know what exactly will happen to your body and how to survive these snake attacks. In the first venomous snakebite scenario, you'll be bitten by the boomslang snake, which has injected you with an incredibly powerful and deadly hemotoxin. In the second scenario, you'll be bitten by an inland taipan, which is often considered the most deadly snake in the entire world due to the incredibly deadly nature of the neurotoxins in its venom. In both scenarios, you could be dead within hours if you don't receive the antivenom in time. 1 minute after being bitten by a boomslang snake, you felt the fangs go into your skin and come out almost immediately. It stings as the nerves in your legs send signals to your brain that something has infiltrated your body. You have no idea what horrors are in store for you, but right now you feel fine, other than some soreness and reddening around the bite. It probably seems inevitable that the first thing you would feel from a venomous snake bite is the puncture of the fangs through the skin and muscle, but this is not always the case. For example, there are venomous snakes called krites that live in parts of South Asia, which have painless bites. This is terrifying because they tend to sneakily slither into people's homes and bite them while they're sleeping, leaving those who fell victim to the snake to either wake up in the morning incredibly sick from the krite's venom or not wake up at all. However, you are in Africa where there are no krites, but there are boomslang snakes, and although there are plenty of snakes on the continent that can kill you, you were able to identify the snake that bit you by its bright green skin with black stripes. You begin walking back toward the closest sign of civilization. You know it's best to remain calm in these types of situations, but as you think about the deadly venom that's just been injected into you, a feeling of dread overcomes you. The boomslang's bite doesn't seem so bad at first, but as time goes by, the hemotoxin begins to tear apart your blood cells as it disrupts the circulatory system. 5 minutes after being bitten by a boomslang snake. With every step you take, more and more of the hemotoxin in the venom circulates around your body. You break out into a run in hopes of reaching help before you start to show symptoms. Unfortunately, this is the worst thing you could do. In any snakebite situation, you want to remain calm and try to move as little as possible to keep your heart rate down. The slower your heart is beating, the longer it'll take for the venom to spread throughout your body. As the hemotoxin makes its way through your veins and arteries, it's tearing blood vessels apart. This can lead to excess bleeding in vital organs along with blood clots that can block critical pathways to your brain or heart. You start to develop a headache and nausea as the toxin disrupts your circulatory system. You try your best not to vomit, but your body knows something is wrong. Your brain and immune system try to do anything they can to remove the venom from your body. 20 minutes after being bitten by a boomslang snake. You feel a little off, but there are no signs that the toxin delivered from the snake bite is causing life-threatening problems quite yet. The nervous system isn't directly affected by hemotoxins, so your motor functions seem to be fine. You reach the outskirts of town and head toward the hospital. You hope they have the boomslang antivenom stored within the medical facility, but you're rolling the dice with this bet. Most hospitals don't have access to specific antivenoms because they can be difficult to make and expensive to purchase. It's a sad reality, but this is one of the main reasons that so many people die from snake bites each year. If only the well-being of humanity was put ahead of pharmaceutical profits, then countless lives could be saved. You burst through the doors of the hospital and plead with the nurse at the counter for help. 60 minutes after being bitten by a boomslang snake. You've been in the waiting room for a while. You aren't showing any symptoms from the venomous snake. The area around the bite is swollen and your heart rate is elevated, but the medical staff just chalks it up to anxiety that comes with being bitten by a snake. You begin to notice a metallic taste in your mouth. It feels like you've been sucking on a bunch of pennies. You start to feel different. It's not clear if this is good or a bad thing, but something is definitely going on inside your body. The toxin in the venom has now circulated throughout your internal systems and has begun doing its damage. In the coming hours, you'll show symptoms of the deadly hemotoxin, but by then it'll be too late. Your blood will have been compromised. The pathways that vital fluids use to flow around your body will be in disrepair. Your own blood will begin to seep into areas it shouldn't be and cause the disruption of the life processes. A few hours after being bitten by a boomslang snake, you dozed off for a bit, but you were startled awake when you found it difficult to breathe. You gasped for air as you tried to get oxygen flowing around your body again. Even though you were napping, you still feel fatigued. The metallic taste is still in your mouth. You smack your lips and go get a drink of water. You swallow some of the cool liquid. It tastes even more like metal than when you swallow regularly. You hold some water in your mouth, swish it around, and spit it out. What you see horrifies you. When you spit out the water, it's filled with blood. The hemotoxin has caused bleeding throughout your body. You run to the bathroom and look in the mirror. Blood seeps out of your ears, nose, and eye sockets. The toxin has destroyed your circulatory system, and now blood is being released from every orifice on your body. This isn't the worst part. You're not only bleeding out of every hole in your body, but blood is also filling your internal organs. The boomslang venom keeps the blood from coagulating, but once the bleeding starts, it doesn't stop. You're hemorrhaging in vital organs. You plead with the doctors to help you, but at this point, there's nothing they can do. It's too late. The venom from the boomslang has caused unstoppable bleeding throughout every part of your body. As the minutes tick by, you continue to bleed both internally and externally. Eventually, your body can't cope with the loss of blood anymore, and your vital organs shut down. There are a number of organs that can fail and lead to your death in this snakebite scenario. Perhaps your brain was flooded by blood or your lungs filled with the fluid. Regardless, the outcome is the same. Without the antivenom present, boomslang venom kills you in less than 24 hours after being bitten. But things are about to get so much worse. This next type of snake uses a different type of venom to kill its prey and defend itself. The inland taipan has a neurotoxin in its venom that targets the nervous system and will kill you much quicker than the boomslang venom would. 1 minute after being bitten by an inland taipan snake. It all started with an accident. You don't see the inland taipan coiled up on the path, and you stepped onto its tail while hiking through the backcountry in Australia. This will be the last mistake you ever make. Your misstep caused the venomous snake to lash out. After its fangs entered your body, it dumped a small amount of venom into your bloodstream. In fact, the inland taipan only injects around 44 to 110 milligrams, or around 0.003 ounces of venom into its victims per bite. This is an incredibly small dosage, but packs a huge punch that can kill over 250 humans. You feel the bite, but a few moments later the neurotoxin begins to take effect, and shock sets in. Within seconds, the venom from the inland taipan begins disrupting signals between your nerves in the body. As time progresses, the neurotoxin will shut down entire sections of your nervous system. 10 minutes after being bitten by an inland taipan snake. As you walk back down the path to seek help, your vision begins to blur. You try to call out for aid, but even though your mouth opens, your body won't make any sound. The neurotoxin is shutting down body systems left and right. As you continue to walk, you stumble and fall to the ground. The neurotoxin has begun to inhibit the connections between your muscles and the central nervous system. You crawl in the dirt as it becomes harder and harder to breathe. 20 minutes after being bitten by an inland taipan snake. You can barely move at all as your whole body undergoes paralysis. You can still shift your eyes from side to side as you desperately try to find a way out of this terrible situation. The neurotoxin is now starting to affect your brain, and you begin to convulse on the ground as your body seizes. The site where the inland taipan bit you is bleeding profusely from an anticoagulating agent found in the venom. This is nothing compared to what's coming out of other parts of your body. As you convulse on the ground, you begin to vomit. But it's not just bile that's coming up your esophagus and out of your mouth. Blood pours out onto the ground as your body tries to get rid of the toxin. Although your muscles are paralyzed, it feels like you're burning up from the inside. The damage that the venom is causing to your nervous system has forced your body to shut down. Your lungs are on fire from an inability to bring in enough oxygen. Toxins build up in the bloodstream as your kidneys and liver stop working. You are completely helpless. From here on out, you will pray for death. 40 minutes after being bitten by an inland taipan snake. You're bleeding internally, your kidneys have shut down, your nervous system has been compromised, and signals are no longer being sent to vital organs. You take your last breath and close your eyes. The very small amount of venom that entered your body from the snake bite has destroyed almost all of the connections between your nerves. You die as the inland taipan slithers past you on its way to claim its next victim. Both types of snake venom are deadly, but the neurotoxins in the inland taipan's venom will kill you much faster than the hemotoxins produced by the boomslang. There's also something incredibly terrifying about being trapped inside your own body due to a neurotoxin while you die. Hemotoxins do not cause this phenomenon or disrupt the nervous system, which is one of the reasons why snake venom that only contains hemotoxins takes longer to kill you. That being said, many snakes have venom that contains both hemotoxins and neurotoxins, so although the venom might not be as potent as the inland taipan or even the boomslang, many venomous snakes contain a cocktail of toxins that would be enough to kill any human if left untreated. This brings us to the next phase of these scenarios. If you're bit by a venomous snake, what should you do? 1 minute after being bit by a venomous snake. In order to survive, you immediately use a belt or a rope to cut off the circulation from the bite site. You won't be able to stop the spread of the toxins in your bloodstream, but you can slow them down. That might give you more time to track down the antivenom that'll save your life. You should also avoid moving the appendage that was bitten as much as possible. If you're bitten on the hand, wrap a tourniquet around your arm to keep it stable. If you're bitten in the ankle or leg, don't walk if there's someone else around who can carry you to help. 2 minutes after being bitten by a venomous snake. You remember seeing it countless times on TV shows and in movies. Someone gets bit by a snake and their partner immediately puts their mouth on the bite and sucks out the venom. You wonder if you should give this a try. The answer is no. There is no evidence to suggest that sucking on a snake bite does anything for the person who is bitten. Most research actually reveals that disturbing the bite by sucking on it actually speeds up the spread of the venom into the victim's bloodstream. Also, no one needs someone else's mouth bacteria all over a freshly punctured snake wound. Sucking on a snake bite uses up precious time that could be better spent tracking down an antivenom or bringing someone to a hospital to receive appropriate medical attention. 3 minutes after being bitten by a venomous snake. The wound is starting to burn, and you're beginning to sweat. You wonder if you can cut the skin and muscle around the snake bite off to stop the venom from spreading. Again, the answer is no. Once the snake bites you, the venom is immediately injected into your bloodstream. Even if you amputate the entire appendage, the toxins are almost certainly already circulating around your body. You're much more likely to die from a poorly executed amputation in the backcountry than the actual bite itself in this scenario. The worst thing you could do after being bit by a venomous snake is to disturb the wound site. Again, medical experts agree the best thing you can do after being bit by a venomous snake is to slow circulation by remaining as still as possible, taking deep breaths, and keeping your heart rate as low as possible. After that, you must seek out medical attention from trained professionals. 15 minutes after being bitten by a venomous snake. EMTs reach you as you wait on the ground with a bandage wrapped around the bite site. When you called for help, you told them what type of snake bit you. Luckily for you, the hospital had antivenom for that specific snake in storage. The EMTs brought it with them and administered it as you were driven to the hospital. The antibodies in the antivenom bind to the toxins, and your immune system begins to destroy them. For more powerful venoms, you might need to receive multiple doses of antivenom in order to survive. The antivenom itself is created by injecting animals such as horses and sheep with a small dose of the snake's venom. These animals have evolved strong immune systems and quickly produce antibodies that help eliminate the toxins in their systems. Scientists extract the blood from these animals and separate the antibodies that bind to the different components of the snake venom and use them to create antivenoms for humans. One of the most terrifying aspects of snake venom is that it's becoming stronger and stronger. Until relatively recently, it's theorized that snakes had a simple form of venom that was not as potent as most forms today. For some reason, snakes have been evolving with more and more complex deadly venoms. This might have to do with the need to keep up with natural selection as their prey species develop more tolerance to standard types of venom, but scientists aren't entirely sure of the exact reason. And this is scary because as snakes evolve and their venom becomes stronger, the antivenoms we've already developed might stop working. At that point, we'll be right back to square one. New treatments will need to be developed in order to save lives. Right now, you can only hope that if a poisonous snake bites you, the antivenom is readily available and that you can get to it before your vital organs shut down or you bleed to death days after being bitten by a venomous snake. Even if you are treated with antivenom, there are still other negative effects that certain snake bites can have on your body. In a situation where you have access to antivenom but no medical facility, you'll need to make sure to clean and care for the wound caused by the snake bite. This is because some venoms contain toxins that can lead to necrosis, which is the death of body tissue in the region where you're bitten. Antivenoms are oftentimes created to destroy the deadly toxins in the venom, but not the lethal components or bacteria that can cause necrosis. Unfortunately, necrosis cannot be reversed. As cells, tissue, and muscles decay around the bite site, the whole appendage might need to be amputated. This obviously should only be done by medical professionals. In less extreme circumstances, skin could be grafted onto the area of the body where the bite occurred to aid in the healing process. If left untreated, more and more tissue around the bite could begin to die due to a lack of blood in the region. This could develop to gangrene, which can be incredibly painful and almost certainly require the removal of the dead tissue. When it comes to snake bites, the sooner you can make it to the hospital, the better your chances for survival are. That being said, if a highly venomous snake bites you and the toxins have already had time to travel around your body, your situation could be dire. In these circumstances, if the hospital does not have the antivenom you need, the only thing they can really do is make you comfortable as the toxins spread through your body and eventually kill you. Now watch, one drop of this poison could kill the whole world. Or check out most painful animal attacks humans could ever endure.